Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is Wednesday night, about 7 o'clock, May 28th, 2025. April 28th is my mother's birthday. Maybe I had that on my mind. Shout out Hope. Lee, how you been?
Shout
How
out
you
Aunt
doing?
Hope. I've been all right. I'm doing all right. How about yourself,
Nice.
bud?
Not too bad. Getting a little baseball in. It's a little positive baseball lately. Pirates have been playing
Yeah.
well in Arizona. Just won the series there. But rather than talk Pirates off the top, let's talk Steelers. Let's talk Hall of Fame
Mm.
quarterbacks taking shots at each other. Specifically,
Ah.
Steelers legend Terry Bradshaw and future Steelers legend Aaron Rodgers. Did you get a chance to see this clip of Terry Bradshaw talking about Aaron Rodgers?
He should. That is just to me is a joke. What are you going to bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man, that guy needs to stay in California and go,
Thank you.
somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there.
100%. These guys on the show, Mr. Bradshaw, know I'm not a fan of his. We've been around each other personally, and he was not a kind person.
Now he does not. I had to go over and introduce myself to him. He's not. I had to go. Hey, Aaron. I'm Terry Bradshaw. I know he knows me, but I just felt like I better tell him who I am.
Yeah.
And not, you walk in there and you get in his presence and you feel like it's going to start snowing.
What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on Terry Bradshaw and his thoughts on your boy?
Well, first things first, let me shout out Terry Bradshaw, the original TB12, before we say anything. That's the original. Went 4-0 in the Super Bowl and has 4 Super Bowl rings. One of the best quarterbacks out there. Aaron Rodgers definitely has some controversy, and some baggage with him when it comes to him as just a person and a player. We've seen over the years some drama with him when it comes to just him as a player, him as a person. Of course, he has his own little Netflix documentary about, him doing drugs or whatever, experimenting with things, him being on Pat McAfee, talking about different things and stuff like that. And, it's not really too much of a problem. He definitely is a prima donna. It is what it is. But when it comes to the Steelers situation right now, I mean, we really don't have a quarterback right now to say that Mason Rudolph is the guy. Any of the rookies that we have or any other quarterbacks that we have on the team are the guy. It's not really saying anything. Out of anything, when it comes to free agency, Aaron Rodgers is probably the best option when it comes to a quarterback right now. But, it is funny, just to hear, Terry Bradshaw say all that stuff because, it is, you hear about other players and other celebrities and, sportscasters, things like that, talk about Aaron Rodgers the same way about how when they've met him or how he interacts with them when they meet him and things like that. So it is interesting to hear that it's not just one person saying that multiple people have heard that, say, kind of similar things about him. I mean, it's going to be 1 year. The Steelers don't do that, but they just did that last year with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So, maybe it's a new thing right now while the Steelers are trying to rebuild or whatever they're doing to try to figure out what's going to be long term. But I don't know. I think right now, I think that Aaron Rodgers, when it comes to what we need right now, he may be the best option we have at the moment, when it comes to this team right now, because things are just not good right now for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, first takeaway, the Steeler way is dead. They don't make moves the way they used to make them. It's just not. That's not something I'm concerned with at all at this point. Especially some kind of like aura from this team. There's no aura left on this team. It's all gone.
Yeah.
No one cares about the Steeler way at this point. Not on that roster. The way that they make moves is way different. The way everything about them it's gone. So it's not worry about that. I'm some random guy. I think this is a Cleveland radio channel. I'm not 100% sure. Shout out the 1037 The Buzz, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But you can't look through those eyes of the Steelers. So the question is, can he win games next year for the Steelers?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is yes, especially when you compare it to, like you said, Mason Rudolph. They backed themselves into a corner. I don't see what else they can do. For the sake of just talking about Aaron Rodgers as a person, there's a lot of fraudulence there. There's a lot of like fake interesting guy when it's just I don't think he's that interesting in general. He's got a lot of people that like him now just because of some of the takes he's made that go against some of the mainstream things that are like awful. No one cares about. No one wants to hear the annoyances from that. So just because someone agrees with your opinion on something doesn't mean you have to think that the guy's good. And I think that's what happens a lot of times, where especially with athletes, where they can say one thing and have an entire side of the country love them, and then if they say something on the opposite, it swings the other way. Right now, he's got a lot of haters in the media. He's got a lot of people, a lot of fans, I think, that are on his side, though. I've always thought he was a weirdo, and it's not to do with the ayahuasca and stuff like that. That's like fake weirdo shit, I think. But either way, the Steelers quarterback position is not in a great spot at the moment, especially if he doesn't sign. And Terry Bradshaw went in on a little more detail about the Steelers and the moves they made at quarterback.
I liked him at Pitt. I know him. I know what he's like. And when they got him to Pittsburgh, here's what they didn't do. They didn't protect him. They didn't.
Was he a first rounder?
He was.
Okay.
Picked like 28th.
Yeah.
They didn't get him on offensive line. They wanted to run the football, but they didn't have an offensive line that could protect, and they didn't have weapons. He had no wide receivers to speak of.
Right.
And then you throw a kid in there for 2 years, and you got an offense that doesn't fit and doesn't work, and they can't run because their offensive line is not even good enough for a run-blocking team. And therefore, they say Pickett was a failure. He wasn't a failure. The Steelers were a failure. Now Pickett goes to Philadelphia as a backup. He gets a Super Bowl ring. He's traded to Cleveland, who now has 4 quarterbacks.
Right.
And Pittsburgh really has 1, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can find these kids – and you can get them out of college, and if they're good in college, there is no reason that they should fail in the NFL. If you look at what they did in college and why they were successful, all those kids from Alabama, that's great players. Great offensive line, receivers, running back. Of course, those quarterbacks, if they're successful, now they take that into the NFL. They would do the same things in the NFL if they had the proper talent around them. Right. And there's very few teams in the NFL that provide the offensive line and the wide receivers and the talent around a quarterback. And when you do that, you're going to be successful.
So, let's start with the Kenny Pickett thing. That's been done ad nauseum. I don't know. He was a quarterback here for 2 years, right? He did not have, like Terry said, there were a lot of things wrong with the team. But the question is that it's more like a chicken or the egg, I guess, where was the team so bad because of Kenny? Was the offense so bad because of him? Was it because of the offensive line? Was it because of the receivers? We've had that talk forever. But what is your thought just in general on the fact that Terry Bradshaw is just coming out there and pretty much attacking the Steelers organization as a legend of the team?
I think it's almost rightfully so. No one's really talking the talk about how bad things have been going for the Steelers over the past couple of years. We can't get out of the wild card. Ever since Ben left, it really. Of course, Ben has been gone only a couple of years, but it hasn't been great. And even in Ben's last couple of years, it wasn't great. There's been multiple changes with the offensive coordinators. The defense, had been getting older for a while. Offensive line wasn't doing as well, not blocking and things like that. And I think that, he made a lot of good valid points right there about just how we've seen this team perform over the last couple of years. It hasn't been good with the running game. It hasn't been good on the offensive line. There haven't been fantastic. We've had a few great wide receivers, but, there's always drama with them. We find the good ones, but there's always some type of baggage that comes with them, what we've seen with wide receivers. And look at how we've gone through wide receivers over the past couple of years. We can't get a couple that are just good that we've, had for a while. I mean, it's been a long time that we've had a wide receiver stay for a long time, or a running back, or things like that. And so, I think it needs to be said, and I'm glad that a Hall of Famer and a sports commentator like himself is coming out and actually saying about how things have been going with this team. And I mean, like I said, it really needs to be said.
Yeah, I agree. I do like that someone saying, you make a good point. There have been some like little whispers there here and there, but I don't think there's been a takedown of what's happened to the Steelers and the way they went from a perennial Super Bowl contender to a perennial playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's teams out there that want it one way and would be glad to be where the Steelers are, but that's not the way it's been in Pittsburgh for a long time. And when you're told you have the Hall of Fame coach, when you're told there's this aura about your organization, you can't just be happy with the way things have been going the last few years. And it is nice to see someone talk about it a little bit. Just to get things clear, 1037 The Buzz is a Little Rock, Arkansas radio station. The video that we showed came from Cleveland News Channel, though. Of course, Kenny's in Cleveland now. I think that's why they picked up on a couple of the comments. But how about that second half where he talked about if you're good in college, then there's no reason you can't be good in the pros. A lot of times there are players like Alex Smith, who was a bust, and then he goes to Kansas City and has success. Drew Brees wasn't a bust by any stretch, but he took another step when he went to New Orleans and got into that system. I do think that he's right. Terry Bradshaw is right that if you're a good quarterback in college, you should be able to. There's no reason you can't be good in the pros as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think that it comes down to the right fit, you know what I mean? Like where they go. I mean, a lot of times, players only end up, with a team for a couple of years, and then they're not really given that chance to actually, prove themselves that they are could be a future Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean, Steelers only gave Kenny Pickett 2 years. We've seen, like you said, with Drew Brees and Alex Smith, the same. Some players just didn't do well or flourish where they were at before, and then they went to a different team under a new coaching staff, under a new coach, and around players that actually made them feel like they were welcomed and things like that, and they became a talented quarterback. I mean, I can say the same about right now Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, I think, is on his third team or fourth team right now, and
Baker Mayfield,
another one. Those guys, that didn't do so well where they were at, and now they're flourishing where they're at. So I just think that maybe it just wasn't the right fit. I mean, I don't see where Kenny Pickett could. I mean, I could see where he could actually be a talented quarterback if he gets the chance. He just needs to find the right fit for himself.
Yeah. What is it? Third team already. He's in Cleveland this year. We'll see how that goes. The Steelers are going to see them twice. I expect him to get a few starts at least. Right now it's Joe Flacco as their number one, but we'll see how it goes. They got as Terry Bradshaw said, they have 4 quarterbacks right now under contract. So I don't know. Someone's getting cut there, right? I don't know. You're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks, right?
I mean, I almost think it's 5. Deshaun Watson still, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and then 2 rookies. I mean, some. Oh yeah. Yeah, somebody has to, I guess. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to get cut, and unless they think that all of these guys maybe they're going to just rotate them all. Who knows? I mean, we've seen Cleveland just do some wild things. You never know what's going to happen with that team, and maybe they think that this is the rotation they need. But yeah, I think when it comes to training camp and preseason for them, somebody's got to get cut. Maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll figure something out, but I just don't see a scenario where you're going to keep 4 quarterbacks on your roster. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do there. Maybe Shador Sanders will have a new spot after preseason then over. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, he's still got a little bit of a long off season, so you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, like thinking of that. What are you thinking? We'll end this topic with some Steelers offseason. What do you want them to do before training camp starts?
Well, you got to sign a quarterback, and we need a wide receiver. Those are the two big things that we really need to see. And I mean, we're flirting with this Aaron Rodgers things. Either make it happen or get somebody in there, because if they don't, then this isn't going to be a winning team this year.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it'll be Aaron Rodgers and some guy with a pass with him, maybe Lazard, maybe someone else. So those would be the two moves that they made before the season starts. Any thoughts on TJ Watt contract issues? It seems like he didn't show up to OTAs. Any thoughts there?
I mean, I feel bad for the guy because I think he's the best edge rusher in the game right now, and to see a guy like him on this team where there's just so much drama and just so much going on that shouldn't be going on. You want to see a guy like him win, and I want the Steelers to win in the playoffs and then get a Super Bowl for this guy. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I'd hate to see him get so fed up that he wants to leave this team. I mean, I don't think we've seen too many players from the Steelers, organization to have that happen where they just like, I can't take it anymore and just ready to go. But I think it's just, I hope it's just maybe they're waiting to see if it's going to be an extension or something. But I'd hate to see a guy as talented as TJ Watt leave.
Ask him. Obviously, you want to keep him around, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm pretty sure he'll be there week 1, and he'll come out like he's a superhero and pretend that he did it all for the Steelers and all that other jazz.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
great player. I don't need to hear from him either. It's a way to end the segment, I guess, right? We'll be right back with some Bucco talk. Welcome back. It's time for some Pirates talk now. Pittsburgh Pirates ended their series in Arizona this afternoon with a win, a 10-1 victory over the Arizona, who came into the season looking like a good team, but right now they're 2 games under 500 themselves. The Pittsburgh Pirates have won a few games in a row under Don Kelly. Now they're 9-10. For comparison's sake, they were 12-26 when Derek Shelton was fired on May 7th. So that's an improvement, right? From 12-26 to start the season. Now they're 9-10 in the last games. Not some awesome juggernaut move to get better, but generally there's some numbers here. The Pirates have played 38 games under Shelton. Like I said, 12-26. Since Don Kelly was hired, they're 19 games played, 9-10. That's a winning percentage of .316 under Shelton, .474 under Don Kelly. They're averaging a total of 4.7 runs under Kelly. They were only averaging 3.1 runs per game under Shelton. They're also giving up fewer runs now, 4.2 compared to a 4.8 under Shelton. So they were a minus 1.7 with Shelton. They're a plus 0.5 under Don Kelly. Team batting average has improved. Team ERA has improved. Everything seems to be going better. The question is whether or not this is just getting them back to the mean, regression to the mean. They were never as bad as they were playing, but it is good to see that there are some signs of life with the team. Even there was a stretch of losses under Kelly. I think it was 4 games, maybe it was like 5 even. But other than that, they've been pretty solid.
Yeah, it's good to see them getting a little bit of some wins here. I mean, I don't know if Derek Shelton was the problem. I mean, you could say that just by what's going on, but again, that's maybe just how the series have been going for them with the teams they've been playing. Maybe they've gotten a little lucky, who knows? Or like you said, maybe they're coming to a medium where they're finding where they're finally getting to a point where they're okay. We know what we need to do. We made a lot of early mistakes in the beginning of the season, and now we're trying to clean those up and get back to trying to win some series and get ourselves into like a 500 team and maybe get above 500. So there's a lot that's going on with it. I do like what I'm seeing right now. I'm gonna need to see a little bit more before we can make any projections on how to compare right now with these two coaches.
So how much what would you have to see in general to give Don Kelly a shot as the full-time manager next season? I don't personally. Playoff seems like it's out of the question at this point, but getting back to 500, this team finishes over 500 somehow. I think that's enough to give Don Kelly the job. Even if you're a few games under, depending on how the team's playing. I mean, because he was given a 12-26 start. That's 14 games under 500. So if he were to play 14 games over 500 in about a 3/4 of a season, that's pretty impressive, I think. 3/5 of the season, I don't know, somewhere around there. That'd be pretty solid in my opinion.
Yeah, if they can get to that happy medium of maybe just a little bit below or just a little bit above the 500 or around 500, I think it's worth giving him a shot. Now, if he somehow miraculously pulls this thing around and they make the playoffs, maybe give this guy a 10-year extension or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, I agree with you. I think, they get to that 500. I think it's definitely worth a shot for him to be able to get that coaching position because, like you said, he took a 12-26, you said, team.
Yeah.
And then turned it around. Definitely had some improvements, maybe had some words and changed up the batting order or changed up different schemes of what they're doing. And I think that's definitely just some examples right there that would give him a chance to give him a shot at being the coach next year.
Yeah, supposedly there's better life in the clubhouse. He's played some younger guys. Alex Canaria was a guy who really wasn't playing at all. Now he's playing pretty much every day and doing all right. He's nothing special, but Henry Davis is turning on the last couple of days himself. Hopefully Brian Reynolds can turn it on. He had a 4-for-4 night yesterday. Some good signs. I'm getting a little ahead of myself though with the prediction of getting over 500. They're currently still far under 500 at this point, 15 games. I think it's a little too early on my part to try to give him anything, but it is something to look forward to over the summer. No one wants to fucking watch shitty baseball. Especially when you have there's players on this team that are fun to watch. You got Cruz, you have Skeens who pitched today, 6 and I think 2/3, no runs allowed. So
it is a long season. It's a long season. You never know. It's a long season.
Crazier things have happened, I've heard.
That's right. That's right.
Things have happened.
For sure.
Speaking of playoffs, we got a couple playoffs going on right now. Anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah. So right now, of course, we're in the Eastern Western Conference Finals for basketball and hockey. And what's crazy is all those series are at 3-1, which I just think is interesting. It makes me think that, of course, teams that have a 3-1 lead usually end up winning the series. There's only maybe been one in all of sports that go to 7 series, maybe a couple. But I know for sure in basketball, only one that's ever been 3-1 where a team has come back. So it'll be interesting. You got OKC over Minnesota right now, and you have the Pacers over the Knicks. And right now it's looking like an OKC Pacers finals. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the fresh faces. I do like that. I get to see some stars being made, I guess you could say. Between the two series, who do you think has a better shot of coming back down from 3-1 if it were to happen?
I think out of the two series in basketball, for sure, I think the the Knicks, because what they've done so far in this playoffs, being able to come back from huge deficits,
Mm-hmm.
I think they may be the only team that I see to be able to come back and maybe pull out and win a series. But
Yeah, they get 2 home games too, compared to Minnesota only have that 1 home game left. So yeah, I think that's a good point.
I think that's probably the team that may have a chance to do it.
And then in the NHL, Panthers, Hurricanes. Panthers are up 3-1 there. I think the Panthers have just been looking awesome lately.
Yeah.
I think that they're not going to give that up. And then you have Oilers and Stars. Edmonton is leading the series. I don't know. I think 3-1, even in hockey, where you do see some comebacks, it's going to be tough for either of those teams to make it back in there. So looking at an Edmonton, Florida championship, can a Canadian team finally get over that hump? I think it's 93. It was the last time that they had a champion. What are your thoughts on the idea of Canada getting the Stanley Cup back?
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, they I think Canada won the little all-star thing they had with the different teams. I think it was like United States, Canada, Russia, and I think it was one other team for the hockey players or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think Canada ended up winning that little thing they had going on. So it's a possibility they might bring it back to Canada this year, and say that, oh, hockey's ours. But we already know it's an American sport, so that's all I got to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love you taking the idea that the Canadian All-Star team is going to make it any way the Edmonton Oilers, who are made up of players from all over the world, just because they're from Canada.
Just because they're from Canada.
I guess they do have the momentum though.
They got a little bit. They got a little bit. 2 other things I just want to bring up real quick. Just real quick shout out my girl Angel Reese. I know we're Caitlin Clark fans, but shout out Angel Reese. First, she's the fastest WNBA player to hit 500 points and 500 rebounds. I think that's just a great little star thing. And I'd like to give one last shout out to a show that was on for a long time that turned off its lights one last time. Around the Horn.
Give me your 4 panelists. Who, if you had to do your own one last show for Around the Horn, who would you be your 4 guys from the show's history that you'd want out there?
Woody Page for sure.
That's number 1 for me too.
That's number 1.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of the black guy's name with the glasses. Is it Blackstone?
Kevin Blackstone.
Kevin Blackstone.
I think he's on my list.
I
don't know. He's going to be close, but we'll keep going. Got 2 more spots.
Let me think. It's tough because I like a lot of those guys. Who else we got?
Tim Calishaw out there. You got Bob Ryan, J.A. Adonde.
J.A. Adonde for sure. 3. And then probably Tim
Calishaw.
Tim Calishaw, yeah.
Okay, I'm going Woody Page. I'm going Jay Mariotti, legend from the beginning of the show. Controversial now. I don't think he'd be on anytime soon. I'll go Bob Ryan. He's a legend. You can't go wrong with Bob Ryan. That last spot, I've been cracking random jokes about him for a while, so I'm just going to go Bill Plaschke.
Okay, yeah.
So that's my 4.
Right.
I think I hit a couple different regions too, so that works too. But I think I hit the Mountain West with Woody. I hit the East with Bob Ryan. I think that Plaschke's out in LA, and then who else did I have on that list? Jay Mariotti, Chicago, Midwest. Yeah. So I did hit 4 markets too. So bam, that's how you make a show, Lee. Congrats on your attempt, but you failed. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you.